Alright, it's been a couple weeks since Destiny 2 The Final Shape has launched, and I've been seeing a lot of people complain about certain activities, we'll say, in Destiny 2. And I think it's time we just admit that most of us are just casuals. And by most, I mean 99.9% of us. The hardcore players, I would say, are the people who play every single day, at least bare minimum 5 hours a day each day, or they're doing it as a career. So they're probably doing, a few 12-hour days in the week, and then they take like a 1 or 2 day break and they go back into it. And I think it's just time, like, players start admitting that, hey, you just might not be good enough to do certain activities solo. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'll give you an example right here. I'll out myself. I'm calling myself out here. I have 2,600 hours on PC Steam. I've played on another platform before, and I played on Xbox, or I played on another account, I should say, before, and I played on Xbox. Xbox, I think I had roughly 4,000 hours. I only started playing PC Destiny, I think, around Witch Queen. Could be wrong. It's been a while. A lot of it just becomes a blur. But basically, I have thousands of hours in this game, and I will comfortably say that I am a casual. I currently play the game just a couple times a week, couple hours, get the things I want done, and then kind of just play other games at the moment, Elden Ring DLC, everything like that. It's okay to play other games, you just need to admit when you're a casual in a game like Destiny 2. And I know a lot of people are probably fucking fuming right now that I'm calling them out for being a casual, but I am a solo player, and as a solo player, I see a lot of people in raid groups, in other activities, think that they are just a hardcore, I know everything player, but it's just not the case. Like, you literally have to be the 1% in the Destiny community to be that hardcore, I know everything about everything player, you know? So I see a lot of these egos in these solo activities, and those people conveniently start complaining about activities. Now, I'm not including PvP in the discussion I'm having, with the difficulty and all the stuff I'm about to go into. Personally, just a, side thing, I think PvP is almost useless in Destiny, not in terms of, like, functionality, I guess, but I just don't see PvP as, like, being anything in Destiny. Like, I don't think it'll ever be competitive. I don't think it's ever going to be, like, on a stage, unless it's a YouTuber tournament. Yeah, I just don't ever, I can't take PvP in Destiny seriously. If you want to see my thoughts, maybe, on PvP in Destiny and how I think it's just not really helping the game anymore, and maybe some ways I would fix it as a casual player, um, feel free to comment down below, and I'll maybe try to cook up a video or something for next week about the PvP systems. But anyways, moving away from that, I want to talk about how the casual players are raging. I see all the time on YouTube videos and social media of certain activities requiring multiple people. Now, I know when you go on Steam and certain other platforms, Destiny doesn't come up as an MMO. However, if you talk with anyone who plays the game at, like, a high level, they will most likely refer to the game as an MMO. If they don't, they probably do solo everything, and, hey, fair play to them. But for the most part, I think most people would agree that the Destiny 2 game has a very big emphasis on playing with people, even so far to having an LFG literally inside of the game. So you have almost no reason other than the fact that you just don't want to talk to people to do activities. And if you want to use this excuse like, well, I don't have a mic, so I can't talk, I'm just gonna say you're full of shit. If you're buying Destiny DLC, there's a 0% chance you can't afford to get a microphone. That's just how it is. Like, I can't think of a world where you can afford a damn near $80 Canadian DLC and not be able to afford a $20 microphone literally anywhere, or use your AirPods or whatever, because even having a shitty, dog shit, fucking hear fan in the background mic is better than having absolutely nothing when you're talking to anyone. Also, there is text chat, and also, even if you don't have a mic and you have something where you can hear things, you can at least hear people communicate in these LFG posts. Now, I will say, as far as the multiple player activities go, the Fireteam Finder is not great. I'll be the first to admit, I think it's a really cool idea, and I understand why there's restrictions on certain things you can say in chats and everything, but we really, like Bungie, we really need a way to specify shit customly in the messages. I know people are going to be, you know, they're gonna say some weird ass shit in the comments and the tags and everything, but we need custom ones, because these people who post, you know, just looking for groups and shit like that, it's not enough to like I've joined a lot of posts where it's like, oh, you know, looking for experts, whatever. You get in and it's like they've all cleared the raid maybe once. Those are not experts. Those are people who've done it once. All right, those are still new players. That's another thing about you casuals. All right. You know, looking for experts implies a lot of clears, doesn't imply that you've done it 3 times. You know what I mean? Experts, bare minimum, you have to, I feel like you have to at least have done every role at least once. But anyways, enough of that tangent. Now, what am I referring to when I say difficult activities and requiring multiple people? I am referring to the exotic class item activity, I can't remember the name, Grandmaster, what's it called? Exorcism, whatever the fuck it's called, and Grandmaster Nightfalls and Master Raids. All of the activities I just listed right there, I am going to tell you are for typically the hardcore player base or one and done, I never touch that again. The hardcore players are going to be running these activities every single week to, you know, maximize loadouts and get that 1% adept mod increase on their weapon for stability or something. Casual players are not going to be running these activities more than once because there's typically not a point to do so as a casual. There's not a point for you to increase your stability by, you know, 1 to 10% on your favorite weapon when you only play the game like 12 hours max a week. And that's not a problem. This is how the system is supposed to be, in my personal opinion. Coming from someone who's played in D1 and D2 year 1, the old hard activities, you guys don't even know, bro. These old hard activities were so dog shit in terms of fucking rewards. The juice was never, ever worth doing the squeeze, but we squeezed it anyways. And what I'm referring to that is the prestige activities, which prestige is basically just master, but it was called prestige. And the reckoning activity, I know that that one's not considered hard at like today's standard, but it was definitely considered one of the harder activities at the time, just because of how fucking annoying it was. And the Black Armory puzzle, which, if you don't remember, it was for a emblem. You needed people to have different Black Armory weapons. You needed to shoot specific symbols during, I believe it was a patrol area. It could have been a mission. Could be wrong. Can't remember. But you would literally just get an emblem for doing it. It was a lot of work, and it was just shit. It was a terrible reward. That's what we were working with. Prestige was a mode that was kind of like Master in terms of difficulty, where everything's ramped up and everything's basically a red enemy health, just for people who don't know. And on top of that, I don't think it was in the later stages of Prestige, but I know in the early days of Prestige, they locked your loadout. And what do I mean by that is, oh, this week I have to use a sidearm scout rifle and fucking grenade launcher. Now, who remember those days where you would load into Eater of Worlds and your DPS was Prospector, because that was the grenade launcher at the time? Those are the real homies. But anyways, that's what Prestige was. And you know what you got for doing Prestige? You got ornaments for the raid armor, that were mid as fuck. They were basically just the armor, but a little bit of glow. And you also got, except for Leviathan Prestige, that armor was sick. You also got shaders, and this is during the era where shaders were consumables. So you'd have to farm fucking encounters for shaders, alright? This is what we were getting given in the early days of Destiny. That was our endgame activities, where you would get 6 people out of the 150 that were playing for the whole year, basically, and you would do this activity that no one ran, so no one's gonna be like a fucking, I know everything, I'll solo this encounter, blah blah blah, right? And you got shaders. That was the reward. The weapons were the exact same, you would get cool armor, but I think we all knew that there will be better armor in the future. There will be better shaders in the future. And to do the activity, it was, on average, I would estimate, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. And to be honest, Master Raids might be that now. And I'm speaking purely from a solo player experience. I have never ran a raid with like a full clan of people that regularly do that, if that makes sense. Like, I've had full raid clears with clans, but that's typically like join up, get the triumph, and then leave the clan sort of deal. But yeah, that's what we were working with. We basically went to a restaurant, and instead of getting a nice, you know, $30 fucking gourmet meal of like, I don't know, fucking, for $30 we got like 15 fucking chicken tenders, we got, you know, the best steak in the goddamn country, you know what I mean? Instead of that, what we got was a bowl of boiled water. That's pretty much what we got as a reward for doing the hardest endgame activities. And moving on from Prestige raids, it was Reckoning, which was one of the worst activities that was ever added into Destiny, and they've even admitted that it was a mistake adding it, and the only reason why it was as annoying as it was is because they couldn't find a way to kill players correctly, or like, I guess, balance an activity correctly. So they literally, for people who weren't around during this era, because this is a little older, sorry, 1 second. For people who weren't around during this era of Reckoning, you would start building a bridge, and you'd be shot at by 15 fucking snipers. Not actually, it was more like 6, maybe 8. While you pretty much couldn't shoot them unless you had like a pretty decent ranged weapon. Scouts at the time were dog shit. And then there would be ogres that would knock you off the bridge. Then there would be phalanxes that knock you off the bridge. I think there was a few things that, you know, like the Taken pulsating things. I think they were there as well, and they would just knock you off the bridge. And then on top of all that, you were dealing with like the Taken wizards that would shred you in fucking one shot, or in like 1 second. And you would do that for about 15 fucking minutes, and then you would fight a boss. And you know what you got for doing that painful, cancerous activity? You got a weapon. And you know what that weapon was? Sunsetted the next year. So it wasn't even fucking... It was by far one of the worst activities ever done. It was never worth doing the squeeze. So if you ever see that motherfucker running that Reckoner title, bro, he went through war back in the day, alright? Just know that. But yeah, so Reckoning was dog shit, and then the Black Armory emblem was also fucking terrible. You would do this really cool puzzle. That was a really cool idea, shooting symbols, needing to communicate with other people with different guns. I think it was the Hammerhead. I want to say it was Blast Furnace. And then it was like one other, maybe fucking Hand Cannon. I don't even know, I can't remember, it was so long ago. And you would do all this, you would shoot the symbols, and it would take a while. It was hard to do. Not very many people got it done, I know that for a fact. But it was pretty major because it was like a cool... This was like when Whisper of the Worm was the coolest activity to do. Because of the way you discovered it. But When that was all taken care of and done, you got an emblem, and that was it. You didn't even get a weapon or anything. Nowadays, even the, like, the most monotonous activities to possibly do, I think, are still worth doing. And what I mean by that is that, like, I don't like doing the Pale Heart 15 million fucking times, but if I do the Pale Heart, I typically get, and I'm referring to, what is it called, the Overthrow? Yeah. When you do the Overthrow, you have a pretty high chance to get an Ergo Sum, I think a decent chance to get the exotic class item once you've earned it, and you get a Pale Heart engram. Now, alone the Pale Heart engram is pretty decent, but getting the Ergo Sum, very good, and getting the class item, also very good. Now, if you have all the things you want from doing Overthrow, guess what? You don't have to fucking do Overthrow again. And that is the way an activity is meant to be done. It's meant to be completed until you've gotten everything you want from that activity. And from a casual standpoint, most of the time for Ergo Sum, or for Overthrow, it's, have I got an Ergo Sum with Wolfpack rounds? Yes? Okay, I'm done. I never need to do Overthrow again. You can earn the class item by doing the activity and all these other things again. I think it's just any chest on the Pale Heart has a chance to give it to you. But if you want to farm Overthrow for it, you can. You know? You don't have to do Overthrow again. And I know a lot of people don't like Overthrow. This isn't the difficult activity I'm referring to. I'm just using it as an example. Now, doing whatever the duo exotic mission is, I see a lot of people complaining you can't solo it. I see a lot of people complaining it might be a little too difficult, especially at the clock step, where you need to call out, like, basically, and communicate with your team to get it done very efficiently, because you only get a few seconds to match each other's callouts. If you haven't done that activity, highly recommend doing it, even with randoms. It's pretty fun. Also, just want to say this. If you're complaining you can't do it because it's not a solo activity that you can do, and what I mean by that is you literally physically need 2 people to do it, unless someone's come out with a glitched video to solo it, you're just completely fucking wrong. Destiny has been stated many, many times by developers, by YouTubers, by people in the community, even as a solo player. I need to preface this. I am a solo player, okay? The game is not meant for you to solo everything. The solo activities are basically... they're basically the exotic missions, like the Presage, the Whisper, and 0 Hour. Those are the soloable, and, like, if you want something challenging and soloable, do those. If you want to take it a step further, dungeons are there. And if you want to take it a step further than that, you can do, like, GMs or something. But for the most part, you are not meant to solo these. You are supposed to have people with you. So, putting one of the best exotic armor pieces on every class in the game behind needing you to have one other person with you for one playthrough of the activity, and then you can earn it through the Pale Heart. It is insane to me that anyone can ever call that, like, too hard, or it's not fair to solo players and blah blah blah. Guess what? It's not supposed to be for solo players. Like, it just makes sense. You're literally going into an ice cream shop, and you're like, wow, you guys don't serve burgers here? That's completely unfair to me who wants to eat a burger. Hey, dumb fuck. You're in an ice cream parlor, alright? So you get ice cream here. That's exactly what Destiny is. You're supposed to play with other people's. You can't queue up a Shrike solo. Sometimes I wish I could queue up a Shrike solo. But guess what? I get 2 randoms every time. And you know what? I signed that, hey, I'm accepting I'm getting 2 teammates in this activity. One is probably going to be AFK, and the other one is going to be fucking a random blueberry who's never done a strike before in his life. Alright? I signed the dotted line when I clicked that activity. That's how it works in Destiny. That's how it's always worked in Destiny. If you're complaining about, I can't solo X activity, it's time to use Fireteam Finder. Yes, I know sometimes it's shit. It's sometimes really bad. I know the chat system also isn't great in Destiny. Believe me when I tell you, I have no problem ranting for fucking days about Destiny and its shit fucking bugs and glitches and activities that don't work properly and all this other shit. But as a community, I think it's very important for us to recognize that at the moment, it makes sense for some of these activities to not be possible without good people, okay? For casual players, which is like 99% of us, we are not meant to be doing master raids every single fucking week. So the one time we do it, it's gonna be a 2 to 5 hour run because it's difficult as shit and we've never done it before. That just makes sense. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. Raids are supposed to be long, and they're supposed to be hard for your first run, at the very least. If you want to fucking nitpick in the comments already and be like, well, actually, Vault of Glass is one of the easiest raids in my opinion, so, you don't actually take 2 to 5 hours, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't care. I'm just saying on average, bro. Okay? Just on average. Alright? Raids are supposed to be difficult. They're supposed to take 2 to 5 hours on average for your first clear. Okay? And the master raids pretty much require you to have either all of you are playing the game every day, constantly, for weeks or months, or it's you and the boys, you know what's going on, you know, and you guys are gonna figure it out together, sort of thing. That's pretty much what, like, Master is going to be. Grandmaster is probably, in my personal opinion, the easiest form of high-end activity. If you really want to get the most juice for your squeeze, Grandmaster gives you a shit ton of rewards for just running it a few times, especially on Double Nightfall rewards. So that's probably where you're looking for if you're a casual looking for a lot of good, like, Ascendant Shards and all this other shit. But yeah. I personally think the endgame activities are very well balanced right now. I personally think Master Raids, Grandmaster activities, including the 12-man Exorcism, these are all, even if you want to use the exotic mission for the class items, if you want to use fucking Master Dungeons, and what else is there that's hard in Destiny? And Gambit. No, I'm joking. But if you want to use, like, all these Grandmaster, Master activities as an example as endgame, I think at the time, currently, right now, it is the most balanced it's ever been, and it needs to stay this way. And what I mean by that is that I understand if you're saying, oh, this activity shit needs to be better, but that is completely different than saying this activity is too hard, it needs to be easier. We need hard activities in the game, otherwise there's nothing left for most of the players grandfathered into Destiny to do. If you're a new player, I completely understand your standpoint. You're probably thinking, well, the Master activities and Grandmaster activities require me to play a certain amount of time, and it takes me a while to level up, and by the time I'm the level, I'm already burnt out. I get it, okay? But these activities are staples in any game that needs to last long term, and Destiny 2 is the best looter shooter out there right now, so they need to keep this trend going of very difficult activities that require multiple people, you know? This 2-man activity is probably going to be a one-time thing they're doing, and if it's not, I'd be happy, and if it is, I'm still happy. Where they just do, you know, if the next exotic mission comes out and it's a 2-man activity and you get a cool exotic, great. If the next exotic activity comes out and it only requires one person, or you can have up to 3, great. It doesn't matter, because this 2-man activity is a nice, what's it called? It basically breaks up the monotony we've had of, like, every exotic mission can be soloed fairly easily, you know? And now it's like, now you need 2 people. It's like, oh shit, now I gotta get one of my boys to play with me, you know? And I think that's the intention. You know, I think a lot of players forget that there are activities that you're not meant to do, like, from the get-go, or as, you know, a couple 100-hour player. And that sounds, I know that's like, actually, you should be able to do every type of content by having 100 hours in the game. Unfortunately, that's just not true. You might think that's how it should work, but that's just not how it works. You know? Great example, Warframe, another game Destiny's compared to a lot. If you play 100 hours in Warframe, you're probably nowhere fucking near the hardest activity in the game. Like, not even fucking close, because of how much shit is in Warframe. And Destiny, at this point, has that level of content. You know? If you're complaining, like at this point, I think it's a really great balance of we have a lot of easy activities, being normal exorcism, being the pale heart activity, being the exotic missions, being dungeons. Yes, I consider dungeons to be a little easier because, let's be honest, there's not really a hard dungeon. There's just dungeons with higher health bar enemies than others, you know? I think we can admit that. There's seasonal activities for new player, or for casuals, I should say. There's all these easy to do activities in the game, not including strikes, nightfall. Like, there's so much easy shit for you to farm in the game if you want any type of activity or break up any sort of like repetition you're doing. You know, you're tired of doing dungeons, time to do some strikes. You're tired of doing strikes? Well, make it harder with nightfalls. Tired of doing nightfalls? Okay, well, time to grind something in the pale heart. You know what I mean? And you will get burnt out eventually, and that's just how it goes. That's how it is. That's how every game goes. You eventually get burnt out, and to be honest, it's impressive that Destiny's even been able to keep the amount of people in it from launch. You know, we still see a lot of creators like Datto, Fallout, As the Crows. You guys know the list. You know, it's great that Destiny's able to keep these players, but we need to keep the formula. I want to make this very, very clear, okay? We need to keep the formula they did for this DLC, alright? What they did with this DLC is they introduced a lot of casual activities, being the Pale Heart, you can solo it or join people, being the fucking ghosts, what is it called? Alone in the Dark, being that, you know, you can do, there's Onslaught now as well, there's Nightfalls to do, there's so much like casual activities to do that has been in the game for a while, but now it's just a little bit better because of, you know, Prismatic and everything, while also having those harder type of content, the microcosm quests, the fucking exotic class item, the master raids, the ability to fucking get a god roll prestige weapon, like a fucking Harrowed scout rifle or whatever the fuck, and then just be able to make it the enhanced version with the enhanced shits. I can't remember the fucking name. The tier 2 enhancement, whatever the fuck. I can't remember the name of it. But they did a almost, I'm just gonna glaze them here. They did an almost perfect amount of easy to do casual activities while having a lot of harder to do. I eventually want to get to doing those activities, you know? Every expansion needs to have those, oh, I can't wait to do Day 1 raid. Oh, I can't wait to do Grandmaster Nightfall for these certain things, you know? Oh, I can't wait to get the exotic class item that does 2 exotic perks in one. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we need every single expansion. That sort of feeling of, like, I can't wait to do those things while you're doing all the casual shit to get to the endgamey shit. But yeah, anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. Really wanted to get through that, not you guys, sorry. Maybe not people who watch my videos, because we're all chads, let's be honest. But all the people fucking complaining about these duo activities and that I should be able to solo every activity in the game because, you know, I paid the $80 for the DLC. Fuck off, you're not wanted here, alright? Okay, well, that's going a little too far. But we need to just be honest with ourselves. If you're casual, you're a casual, you know? Let it be. Let it sit. That you're just a casual. And it's fine being a casual, you know? People have jobs, people have lives. Not everyone's a YouTuber, not everyone's a fucking top streamer or whatever, right? And you have things to do. And then you come onto Destiny and you do a few things and then you get off for the night, alright? It's fine being a casual. It's fine not being able to do every master raid there is. It's fine not being able to get the exotic class item because you don't have any current friends online at the moment and you gotta wait till next week, you know? it is what it is. Shit happens, and this is what the content is for you to be like, oh man, I really want to do that, you know? It's almost exactly like how in Elden Ring, you know, you have all the easy bosses, like fucking, uh, like Godric, like Renala, you know, shit like that, and then you have the really hard bosses, like Melania, and like, you know, underleveled Radon, where it's like, if you can't do those things, you just can't do those things. It's okay to admit it. It's okay to not be the best player in the world in the game, alright? It is what it is, you know? But, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I hope Destiny continues doing the formula they're doing right now. Really excited for the future of Destiny. I think this is the best state it's ever been. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day.